From starter Pokemon to legendary Pokemon and everything in between, can I make an entire Fakemon region in just 7 days before my flight home? And if I fail, well, I guess these Fakemon just get scrapped. Hi, I'm Jake, and I've been drawing Pokemon since I was 7 years old. Today's video is coming from Tenerife, where I thought it'd be a good challenge to see if I could make a whole region with inspiration from my holiday in a week before I catch the plane home. So let's set some rules for this challenge. Firstly, I need to make enough Fakemon to class as a new generation of Pokemon, and I'm using X and Y as my basis because they introduced the lowest number of new Pokemon, with 72, so I have to beat that. Secondly, I need to make at least one Fakemon for every type, so that's 18 types to cover. Thirdly, I need to hit all those classic groups of Pokemon like the starters, pseudo-legendaries, Route 1 Pokemon, the Pika clone, and regional variants. So let's get straight into it because it's going to be a lot to do. I'm going to start with this wallpaper art. It's actually quite funny that these birds are the first things that I saw when I walked into our hotel room. They're birds covered in flowers, and it's the first thing I saw. These were destined to be the grass starters of the region. In fact, I need to make a region name. Oh no. I feel like these really set the tone of what I wanted to achieve with this holiday region. With their bright colours, they gave like that tropical feel. The second set of Pokemon that I drew are based on sangria, that Spanish wine, and no, that wasn't the first thing I did as soon as I got off the plane. I just happened to spot someone drinking it. Sadly, the first day wasn't very sunny at all, so I decided to make a cloud Pokemon to try and cheer myself up. I made it like a cute little thundercloud that evolved into this kind of manta ray vibes. I've just noticed this butterfly pattern on the carpet. I know I've made butterfly Fakemon before, but maybe I could do something with this. And do something with the carpet? I did! I made these moth butterfly-like creatures. The colour of the wings is directly inspired by the colour of the carpet, and I gave it this kind of Day of the Dead feel. I'm thinking maybe bug and ghost type Pokemon. The hotel had this really cool kids pool, and it had like a shipwreck slide, but it also had loads of toys out. So Bo, my son, started playing with these blocks, and I thought, hey, this could be my first regional variant. If I've got a whole generation of Pokemon to make, I need to take every opportunity I can see. I think I'd call them Stackley, Stacklestack, and Gargastack. Gargastack sounds awful, actually. If you can think of something better, let me know. I was inspired by the bright colours of the blocks, so I kept up that theme. Now the next Pokemon is a holiday staple. I think I'll get mango sorbet. No holiday's complete without ice cream, right? And my favourite flavour is mango sorbet. A regional variant of the Vanillite line was a no-brainer for this idea. I think I could see it being a grass and ice type Pokemon, and I like it because it keeps up those bright tropical colours that I'm trying to establish for the region. Not gonna lie, the next idea is a bit rogue. It's based on those fish that eat the dead skin off your feet. Except my Pokemon wouldn't be eating your feet. It would be sucking your soul out instead. Human souls, Pokemon souls, the souls of your feet. You see where I got the idea from? It is a bit odd, I'll give you that. But I decided to make it a water and ghost type. I used an angel shark for the basis for the final evolution. On our little walk through the town, we came across this guy who was doing like street performance of blowing these huge bubbles. My son obviously loved it, so I had to make a Fakemon based on this guy. I'm thinking maybe water and fighting type, and it can learn some of those special fighting type moves like Vacuum Wave. Then I decided to try and make a Fakemon based on a steamer, and also the concept of brain freeze after we ate that ice cream. I really like these ones, and they're reuse of some of my old Fakemons. I didn't really like the steamer Pokemon though, so I tried to change it into something a bit more Pokemon-like. Actually pretty cool, isn't it? That was my live reaction to that electronic sculpture that was in the mall. I thought it would make a cool Fakemon that could act like Magneton or Klinklang, where it's individual Pokemon that act as one. I really like this concept of rings that are magnetically held together and kind of swirl around in this storm-like pattern. So here's how the dex is looking at the end of day one. I'm so glad that we've managed to get down 2 of the starter Pokemon. I think that that's going to be a really big help in completing this challenge. And we've also managed to hit a few of the obscure types like Ice and Ghost. So it's day 2 of the challenge now. I stayed up a bit last night and I've probably done about 20-25 mons. So I think that's a really decent chunk anyway. So we booked a car and we're going to take Bo, my son, to his first zoo. So I'm sure there'll be lots of inspiration there. And the inspiration actually hit on the car journey to the zoo, where I saw these pylons and they were really funnily shaped, like very different to what we have in the UK. Probably my favourite design so far. I'm thinking either steel and electric or dragon and electric, dragon steel. The entrance to the zoo had this awesome dog statue, and I actually sent it in the Discord chat like, look how cool this is, and imagine if someone made a Fakemon based on it. I'm thinking it could be pure dark type actually, with the first stage being quite mischievous and then the second stage being either evil or warding off evil. I haven't quite decided yet. But the head of this Fakemon took me ages. I just couldn't stay happy with it. It just looked so odd, and I was really happy with the first stage. In the end, I just said to myself, I need to be happy with this, I need to move on, or I'm not going to finish this challenge in time. The next Fakemon is based on dolphins and orcas and other whales because they're easily spotted around the seas of Tenerife. I threw in some pilot and fighter jet references because someone in my Discord chat sent through an incredible design for their own game Data Fighters, which was based on a fighter jet. Wow, look at that. I don't think that I've ever seen a tiger, never mind a white tiger. I thought this stood out to me so much that it needed to be a Pokemon. The white colour made me think of mystical and magical vibes, and I thought, what if its stripes were actually not there, or they were kind of like portals to a different dimension? So I made it like a psychic and ghost type. Next we saw these flamingos, and we actually already have a flamingo Pokemon, which I do not like. So hopefully I've improved with this evolution for Flamingo. The hotel also had a lot of yoga sessions on, not that I joined in, but I thought maybe that could be a good fighting type. So I just included it in this design because Flamingo is made of rubber, I think, and it's quite flexible. Next up, I saw the tiniest sign for zooplankton, which I thought, we don't have any Pokemon that are that small. Maybe this is a good opportunity to try and make some. They were quite hard to do because they're very odd shapes and their body shape is similar throughout all stages of their life. They just don't even look real, do they?
No.
Really cool.
Oh, wow.
Not me fangirling over a jellyfish in an aquarium tank. But yeah, they are cool, I stand by it. And to make it a little bit different than Jellicent, I flipped the Pokemon on its head. And now that I'm recording this voiceover, I've just realised that's literally what Inkay is. I mean, it's a squid. Mine's a jellyfish, I guess. They're different, I'll go with it. Saw a sign warning people to beware of pickpockets, so I thought, what Pokemon could be a pickpocket? So I made an Apom evolution where it used its arms to steal things instead. In the aquarium, I spotted these tiny clownfish, and I can't believe that Pokemon hasn't made a clownfish Pokemon yet. I don't think that Bruxish counts, I think it's based on something else. I also thought we could do an anemone as well, and the two Pokemon could kind of be like counterparts to each other. I see the anemone being a poison and fighting type, and the clownfish being a psychic and dark type. Day 2 takes us up to 43 Pokemon, so we're over halfway done. I'm smashing this challenge. I decided to make the Orca line the water starter as I thought it just had more starter vibes compared to the Soul Sucker fish. It's day 3 today. The zoo is actually a bit of a letdown. I guess like most of the animals in there had already been turned into Fakemon, so it didn't really work. But I got a few ideas, not as many as I wanted. So yeah, day 3, we're chilling by the pool, got my iPad, just gonna doodle and we'll see what happens. The first thing I spotted on this day was a paraglider up in the sky, and I thought, hey, that could be a good flying type Pokemon. So I drew this little guy with huge hands that act as like a sail for it to fly through the sky. Then we had some unwelcome guests arrive. You like those birdies? Yeah? But at least someone liked seeing them. So their little black markings around their neck kind of reminded me of like headphones, so I went with musical birds for this. Although they're only pigeons and we already have pigeon Pokemon, and I guess we already have musical bird Pokemon with Chatot, I still decided to make it anyway. Up next we've got the best regional variant that I think I've ever designed. It's a Tinkertink line, but replacing its hammer with giant ice lollies instead. I think I'd keep the fairy type but replace steel with ice, and it could be known as the Dragon Slayer in this region. You'll see why later on. Could definitely do something with these. You know, like a little ball that turns into something like that. thinking it could be some like weird hairstyle maybe. We'll see what I can cook up. And cook I did, because I think that some of these designs are, again, probably some of the favourites that I've ever made. This challenge is really good for making you draw quite freely and quite loosely. Like, you're on a time limit, so I just doodled the first thing that came into my head. And like I said, those cactuses reminded me of like crazy hairstyles. So I interpreted the different shapes of the cacti as gender differences for this month. That takes us to the end of day 3. And although we only added a few Pokemon today, I think they were really solid designs. And there's some that I'd love to have a go at properly designing in the future. We've ticked off our regional bird and we've added a steel type with the cactus line. Although we still don't have a fire starter, which is kind of stressing me out. Just woke up and it's day 4. Day 3 I think was good. We had some cool designs. I really like the Tinkerton evolution line. And we saw some pigeons. So today is the last day with the car, so we're off to a butterfly garden and see a very interesting tree, which I've got a good idea for. It should be a good day. Although I'm not sure we're going to hit the target of the amount of Pokemon we need. I'm kind of running out of ideas now. But hopefully today brings some new ones. I started sketching before we even set off for this day because, like I said, I was kind of freaking out if I was going to hit the goal. So we had the maid's visit and I decided to make a maid Pokemon. And I remembered seeing these little houses at the side of the road when we were driving the other day, and I think they might be like remembrance things for people who've passed away. I turned them into these big wandering houses that were mixed with a theme of like fireplaces, kind of just to keep people safe, warm and happy. Here's a little clip from inside the butterfly house. I didn't get much of it, but they also had terrapins in there, which were pretty cool. But yeah, the butterflies looked amazing just flapping around with those colourful blue wings, so of course I had to make a Pokemon based on them. Oh, and we saw the little caterpillars too. I have to admit, these aren't my strongest designs. It's literally just a caterpillar grub thing with spikes on its back. The cocoon I kind of turned into this moon shape, which I kind of liked. So for the final evolution, I went with a sort of space theme. Because the wings were dark on the underneath, I thought they could be good for the moon. And then the blue kind of reminded me of like the nighttime sky with stars, I guess. Then I decided to make the terrapins into Fakemon. I noticed that I didn't have any ground types yet, and so I stuck the terrapin in the ground. The hotel also had these golden tortoise statues, so that's where the colour inspiration came from them. So after the butterfly house, we went to the gardens, and there was full of volcanic rock that these lizards were kind of living in and scuttling all over. So finally, I think we might have found our fire starter. And yes, I know, Charmander exists, how can we forget that? But they do look visually different to Charmander and its evolution because I'm keeping them on all fours. I imagine it's going to be like this lizard that's got a volcanic tongue and its spit is kind of like lava maybe. This is the dragon tree that I was on about. So cool. I think it's 1,000 years old. 1,000-year-old dragon tree, you say? That sounds like the perfect inspiration for a pseudo-legendary Pokemon. So this is going to be a grass and a dragon type Pokemon, and I gave it like a wyvern or a basilisk type feel, maybe with a hydra mixed in too because of the multiple branches. These trees are actually really cool because if you cut them, their sap turns red when it mixes with air, so that's why I decided to give them red eyes, and I also think it makes them look even more dragon-like. So this could be the counterpart to the Tinkerton line, hence the Dragon Slayer. It's the end of day 3 now, and the butterfly house was well cool, and that tree was just incredible. We've just had a meal at the hotel, and I'm pushing my son round trying to get him to sleep. But these umbrellas look well spooky, so I feel like I could make a ghost type from them. It wasn't just me who thought this, my whole family said they looked like ghosts, so although they didn't say ghost Pokemon, we were all along the same tracks. I just noticed this sundial too. Maybe that could be like a psychic type, psychic rock, psychic steel. I thought it could be a good opportunity to make a regional variant of a nose pass. Instead of it being a compass, it was a sundial. It was quite hard to get the posing right, but in the end I just mimicked the exact shape of the real life inspiration, and I think it worked. So yeah, here's the end of day 4, and we've got a really solid dex. We hit 70 designs today, so we're so close to completing the challenge now. We're just missing things like the Route 1 normal type and the Pika clone, and then obviously the legendaries, but I'm saving them for the final day. Day 5 of the challenge now, and I think it's going really well. I think we need to spend today just filling in the gaps in the decks, maybe dishing out a few more types and basically plugging in the holes. Challenge is going good. So it's the last full day today. Tomorrow is only a half day because we're flying home at about 3 PM. So I've got until then to finish it. For the Pika clone of this hypothetical region, I googled what rodents were available. Available's not the right word. What rodents are found in Tenerife, and they have these ground squirrels, which I thought could be a cool ground and electric type. Then I googled what mammals were found, and they have a long-eared bat which is native to the area, so I thought that could be the normal type Pokemon. And then finally, I wanted to add an extra fairy type, and I actually based it off one of my son's toys. So this is Upsy Daisy from In the Night Garden, if you've never met her. She's just this dancing fairy, and that's what I did, and I used all the bright colours for the design too. Surprisingly, it ended up being one of my favourites. So I added these final 6 Pokemon in and rearranged it into an order which I thought made sense, with like the root ones coming first and the more rarer Pokemon coming later on. It's the final day today. Really happy with the designs from yesterday, and we've hit the number, so I think we've done it. There's just one thing to finish the decks off now, and that's Legendaries. So the transfers come in for us soon, and we've got the airport wait, so I'm going to sketch them out then. But yeah, stick around for the final decks, and I might do some renders of the final ones that I really like. So with the final boss of this challenge being the aeroplane home, I thought I had to make the legendary based on that. And I was kind of inspired by the penguins that I saw at the aquarium too. When they were swimming, they just kind of reminded me of planes and submarines, so I thought maybe that could be the second legendary. So introducing the 2 legendary Pokemon of Pokemon Winds and Waves. Wait, I mean Sea and Skies. I imagine them being Steel and Flying type and Steel and Water type respectively. Now, any good region isn't complete without a mythical Pokemon, and I wanted to represent the island of Tenerife itself. Tenerife was born from a volcano, so I wanted to represent that with a cute magma baby encased in volcanic rock with lush vegetation growing off it. There we have it, I finished it. We completed the challenge. We've got a full dex filled with every single Pokemon that you need for a region, from starter Pokemon all the way through to legendaries and everything in between. Let me know who you think is the best and who you'll be adding to your team. I'll personally be serving as this region's champion, so here's my team, and if you think you can beat it, let me know down in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this challenge. I had a blast, but it was really hard to keep up with drawing whilst I was away and trying to enjoy my holiday. So I'd really appreciate a like and a comment, and if you like this kind of content and you want to see more Fakemon challenges in the future, don't forget to subscribe. But for now, thank you, and I'll see you next time.